Hey. Welcome everyone to the Drippy Verse. This is Drippy, your source of options drip on a daily basis. On this channel, we talk about some of the most exciting setups on the market based on the options flow, technical analysis, pattern analysis, and the current market structure, and also options flow occasionally. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, so I may be in some of these positions before, and you're responsible for managing your risk and taking profits timely. Another important thing to note is that, upcoming week, we have a lot of Fed members talking, so we have to be careful. We have a lot of important earnings coming soon, Tesla earnings, Netflix earnings. So, those will kind of dictate where the market heads towards, and we have to be careful with respect to trading indexes and swinging them. Like, let's say if you are, let's look at, for example, ES1, which is the S&P futures right now. They don't look good. They're already down 27 points. And, looking at this chart here, it does kind of look like a topping pattern here, head and shoulder, and neck. Sorry, this is the neck, this is the head, this possible head here, possible shoulder here. And we could see it pull back all the way to this support area right here around 42.72, and that could possibly be a reversal signal for long, or it could very well continue test this, and then we'll see how it goes. So far I'm looking at this trend line to act as a support. Maybe earnings are solid, it comes down here and then reverses from here. Could be one possibility. And we have seen that happen earlier as well. We had this kind of topping pattern here, and this was the head, kind of like left shoulder, right shoulder, and it retested this level and then bounced from here, created all-time high. Now this is on a higher like a larger duration, so either way, if it breaks down, the breakdown will be bigger. If it breaks out, breakout will be bigger. So this is a critical month ahead, and usually Q1 earnings are not that good for most companies. So we have to keep that in mind. So right now, anything can go either direction. So you need to be either hedged or sized down, or just trade intraday. You can trade swing trades every day. So let's talk about some of the setups I'm looking at. So first one is Dish. Now Dish TV is a 5G play. So what I'm thinking about this is, like, first of all, let's look at the flow for Dish here. You can see here that we have 35 call, 32.5 call, so in the money call and out of money call, and these are big orders, almost $1 million orders here, expiring in 33 days. And let's look at the option chain for 33 days here on unusual whales, and you can see here that the open interest and volume for 32.5 and 35 call is significant compared to the the other weeks here. There's not much volume here. There's some here for 35 call for expiring next week, but it's a slow name. It doesn't move like Tesla. And let's look at the chart, then I'll talk about a possible catalyst, which I think might be the case here. So first, you can think about it this way, that it kind of broke out of this wedge here, but I'm more interested in kind of like looking at it from another perspective, which is that it did sell off, and then it had earnings. It went all the way here, $25, never really came back, filled this gap, made a higher high, and now it broke above this level. If you look at the volume profile for it, nice thin volume here. This is the level to watch here, $34 and $35. That's where I'm expecting some resistance to hit, and around 36, depends how the market is and stuff like that. another thing I would like to kind of add here now is to, around, if it can come back to retest this 32.5 to 32.7 area, that's where I would love to add it, on a pullback. But it's still 33 days. You can manage your risk here against this level, 32.5, and you still have time. So this is a longer play. But another thing to note here is that every time it does cross above this 34.50 on the daily, you can see that it actually goes, it pretty much kind of rips. So this happened right here, happened right here, happened right here, and even on the weekly, you can see that every time it's above the weekly, like the 9 EMA, you can pretty much see here that every time it kind of rips from that angle chart. It's not pretty, but the catalyst now, which I think, first, if let's look at the news. So we have a lot of news here that rolled out. It was last month though, right? So what I'm thinking is that Apple earnings, right, they will announce something related to 5G, and Dish owns a lot of 5G spectrum, and I think this might be the play. I think that they're betting on that Apple will announce something, and Dish might rip based on that. So the flow is really bullish, chart looks bullish, and given that the market is bearish and this is going against the market, shows a relative strength. And also notice the volume here. It's been accumulating. These green bars are, after this earnings, it's kind of been in a consolidation phase, and volume is now starting to pick up. And the next earnings is coming on 4th May, and last earnings were really good, so I'm expecting it to kind of beat earnings again. So my target is roughly around $35 in next 2 or 3 weeks, and if the market pulls back, it can pull back, and we have to be careful and get the best possible entry. So don't go all in. If just start accumulating. If it on the dips, we still have time. So if the market pulls back, if it rips, then you can't really do anything about it. But yeah, that's the first one I'm watching, Dish. And then let's look at another one, is Rig. Now Rig is like a drilling, industrial drillers, and overseas drilling oil and gas. So reason I'm bullish is that first, sector looks really bullish, and second, let's remove this volume profile. And second, I mean, the chart looks really good. It looks like it's in a pennant here, and this 34.50 on the daily is holding well. It always reverses from here. Now one thing to note is that it might pull back, retest this 4.3, and then rip. And or another thing to note is that earnings are coming on 2nd May, so it could if it breaks below this 4.2, it could progressively and rapidly actually retest this trend line around 3.7, which has been holding up. Every time it it comes around this and then it holds those. This would be kind of like a safest entry, but I'm looking for a breakout, and especially test like this $5. And if you look at this volume, there's some accumulation going on here, and really like the setup, and it's in a squeeze on the daily, and also weekly looks really interesting spot. It's been in a severe of course sell-off, but starting to kind of base out here. The volume is increasing, so heavy accumulation here, and the sector is hot, oil and gas names. And let's explore the unusual whales, open interest and stuff like that. So let's look at Rig. So now you see this here, like $5 is 40,000 open interest. That's a lot. And the premiums, low was 0.05, high is 0.1. So I don't personally think that buying weekly is a good idea. So if you kind of explore this chain and go ahead and look at 33 days, so again 20th of May, Now things get super interesting. Look at this chain here, 40,000 for again 40,000, and the volume also on the other day on Friday was 10,000 contracts, and for 5.5, 6, 7. So way out of many calls for this one. And in my opinion, you can put some lottos, or watch the price action, and if it breaks above this key level here, 4.65, then you can potentially trade it intraday. But I would much rather trade with time in hand, and that way I can get out of the trade if it's not working for me. And the flow also looked bullish from last couple of weeks. The flow has been bullish on this one. So if you look at rig, 5.5 call expiration, this is a yearly expiration. But apart from that, I mean, these are small orders, which are puts, of course, makes sense. But on the like a higher time frame perspective, and also if you look at different time range, for example, if you go back in time, I'm not going to do it here, but you can easily go last 30 days, last 7 days, you'll see a lot of bullish orders on this one. So nonetheless, be safe. As I said, you need to hedge positions, and you need to be very careful, and it can very easily go down as well. So this is the level to watch. If it breaks below 4.18, then this is the support, 3.7, 3.5. Next one I want to talk about is Airbnb. Now, Delta Airlines came out and said that the earnings were not that good, but the key point was that the travel numbers are almost the same as pre-pandemic level, right? And the good thing about Airbnb business is that they don't need to rely on fuel costs. They don't need to rely on airplanes. They don't need to rely on weather mostly, because like airplanes and airlines need to rely on that. They don't have pilots and stuff. They don't have to worry about staff. So all these issues with airlines, which I don't like, they don't have issue. Airbnb does not have issues with that. So I really like the setup here. I do think that if the broader market pulls back, and we have more COVID cases coming soon, and if we have lockdowns, this can pull back all the way. You see this kind of curve here holding as a support, so it could pull back, and this resistance is right here, so it could pull back here before the earnings and then kind of take off. But that's just one possible scenario. Other one, it does look bullish. It reversed from here, and it was right below the daily 21, and it reversed, and this was a green day. So now area I'm watching is 165. If it kind of holds here, consolidates here for maybe 1 or 2 days, and then rips, if it goes above 180, it can easily go to $200. And this name, I really like the business model. I really like the chart right now, and if this trend line breaks, it can rip. Another one in the same sector, EXPE, looks very similar to this one. And Expedia, similar chart, but the spread on EXP is kind of wide for me, so I like to trade Airbnb more. So let's explore Airbnb first. Open interest. Let's go to the flow for Airbnb for Friday, and you can see here, if I sort it by premium, we have put selling going on, and we have let's remove the sell for 1 sec. We have a lot of buys going on as well. This was around close, 175 call expiring in 5 days, and these are 100k plus orders here. Not a lot of bearish bets, bullish bets here on Airbnb. And if you enable the bids as well, and if you look at the chart, bullish chart, 80% premium is bullish on Airbnb for minimum premium 5,000. If you do it 50,000, then again it's still bullish. Even with the bids, remove, and all those things. Still bullish chart, bullish flow. And let's look at the open interest for Airbnb. So what I'm looking for is something which strikes out, like which is, for example, 1300, 170 put has 1300 volume. And so this doesn't really look something which is super interesting to me, right? So the way I start tracking now is I go to OI changes here, and that's where I look at. So 220 call, previous day volume was 746, current open interest. So open interest increased to 74,500 but this is 425 days. I don't care about that. So here you can see that 175 call has a significant premium on open interest. And also, if you look at the most active chains here for Airbnb, chains with highest open interest. So I'm gonna ignore the ones which are not really, within 30 days. So let's look at the one with, they're not really anyone which is within 30 days. And for here, you can see that we have the highest volume again but these chains have already expired, the ones. So these are 155 sold puts because this premium is bullish. So overall, I think Airbnb is kind of like in a place where if it breaks out, the breakout can be huge. And watching Airbnb for that, ideal entry would be 165 for me. Next one we are going to talk about is CrowdStrike. Now CrowdStrike, first of all, chart looks great, reverse, with normal cup and handle. Look at the accumulation here since the earnings, these green bars showing strength. And we kind of like a cup pattern broke out, and now hopefully it will, if it can hold 230. That was the resistance here. You can see these 3 wicks here. 230 was acting as a resistance, and it kind of broke down, and then it ripped again. So if it can hold this level 230 into next week, that would be the perfect entry for me to kind of start a position and buy some weekly, because I do like the momentum and volatility in CrowdStrike. So the spread is also nice. Another one in cybersecurity is PNW. The whole market is kind of pulling back, but this one is holding this level so well. It's just a very beautiful looking chart. And also this it kind of bounced from this breakout area, and now it looks inside day on Friday, and it looks really good. The premiums are kind of expensive, and also the spread is wide on this one. So I like CrowdStrike more for a similar reason. Same sector, and charts look great. And another thing to consider is that there's gaps up here on CrowdStrike, and there's not much volume. If you look at volume profile, these are thin volume areas, so it can go all the way to 253 and then 270. So my target is actually 270 within 2 or 3 weeks. Let's explore the chain for CrowdStrike. Not a lot of activity on CrowdStrike, except there's some call buying here. Let's just look at the flow here. So yeah, so we have 250 calls being purchased. As I said, the target is 250, but these are 150 days from the date of purchase. So they're buying pretty much kind of like months out. So they're protecting the risk by buying time. But there are also selling calls. So it's more or less, I feel like we need to kind of look. It's 50-50 the premium right now. So we need to look at the price action and rely on that. And if tech is weak and everything is weak, it can pull back all the way and retest this 208 and then continue up again. But I'm leaning bullish for now. Ideal entry for CrowdStrike would be 230 for me, around that area. And target is 250 for within 1 or 2 weeks. Let's keep this on our watch list. And the next one, I want to talk about is PDD. Now I'm already in this one, and Pinduoduo is a Chinese company. And look at this chart. There's nothing much to say. It's a clear downtrend here. Every time it breaks this downtrend, and it breaks the support area, and it just poops. This thing here, support, breakdown, and now there's a gap here. So this looks really, really good. There's nothing much to say. I mean, earnings are coming soon, and chart looks bearish. Um, if it kind of comes back to $35, I'll probably take profit, and it will retest maybe this 41 and then break down, because this is a gap area, so there might be some buyers here, and but it can go. I mean, this name doesn't really care about gaps, not really. The one, if it just follows momentum. And also, if you look at the chain for this one, right, let's talk about the Friday flow, which not much going on with respect to Friday's flow. There's like only calls being sold. Premium greater than 50,000. If you do 5,000 here, still kind of bearish here, but not a lot of orders, right? But what I want to show is, look at the options chain for this one. Let's look at the full chain breakdown, and let's look at PDD, and so this is what's nothing much here significant, and we are talking about puts here. So this is what is of interest to me. See here, 38 and 39 puts here, 5,000 open interest, 2,256 open interest, but calls don't really have that open interest here. So yeah, so I'm I'm in 29th one, but it looks bearish. 39, 38 could be earnings play as well, but either way, it looks bearish. And on Friday it literally plunged 8% down. So very volatile name. If it breaks below 39.5, we're talking about straight to $35 here. So interesting chart. Very volatile name, so you can trade it intraday, close it, and then open position again. But keep in mind, this one just dumps at open, so you need to be very, very fast. These are all the setups with respect to TA, macro, and flow. And there's this another one, UBS, which I kind of tweeted about. Is like the guy, it's kind of like a head and shoulder here, and the guy, one of the asset manager, was involved in a fraud scheme. He was defrauding the investors and spending the money on women and vacation. It's a funny story, but yeah, the flow is also super bearish on this one, and this one actually had a really bearish open interest as well. You won't see it anything for Friday because it was on Thursday, but if you go here and look at the chain here for UBS, and go to 33 days here, 25,000 open interest for 15 put, and the stock right now is at $17. So we are talking about almost 13% drawdown, right? And yeah, the news is bearish. You can check online. So these are pretty much the names I'm watching. Some bullish, some bearish. Overall, mixed, nice assortment of stocks here. And sorry, this video was longer, but I wanted to kind of deep dive into it because we had a long week. I had some time to prepare. So yeah, good luck, folks, and keep in mind we have economic data coming this week. Economic events like Fed speakers speaking, so, and a lot of earnings. So tech earnings will kind of guide where we go towards. So good luck, everyone.